Before we add some printers to our server, it's important to recognize some of the terminology used by Microsoft. To them, a printer is a piece of software on a server. The bit where the paper comes out is a print device. That will become quite important later on. To add a simple printer, all we need to do is head across to the control panel, and inside there we can view devices and printers, and we have an option to add a printer. Now, USB printers would be plug and play, so the most typical type of printer to be installed nowadays is a networked printer. So it'll search but won't find any local Microsoft printers. So say the printer I want isn't listed. Then we choose add a local printer or a network printer with manual settings. So I can say next. It's none of the physical ports on the machine at the moment. So what we'll do is we'll create a new port, and it'll be a standard TCP IP port. We can then specify the IP address. We'll take 10.1.1.200, and it'll query the printer automatically. Even if you unselect this option, it does take a few minutes to try working out what kind of network card is added to the printer. So we'll let it search, and then we'll continue once it's done. So it hasn't found it because we're working on a virtual environment, but this is quite often the case in real life. So what we'll do is, from the big long list of network cards that are available, we'll say that this machine has an HP JetDirect card, very common card fitted to the back of HP printers that we have. It'll then give us a choice of makes and models, so we'll choose HP, and what we have is a LaserJet 4250, and we'll take that one there. We can give it a name. We'll call this one printer on floor 2, nice friendly name, and it will install it. Now, I always choose the don't share on this printer option. I'll explain why later on. We're not going to print a test page, and we'll finish. And there's our printer. It's got a little tick box to say it's the default printer. And if we bring up the printer properties, we can change the device settings, sizes of pages, has it got duplex information in it. But we can have a look at the sharing tab. We can share the printer. It's given a default name the same as you called the printer. That's great for us. And the important thing is the box that was missing from the previous search bar, and that was to list it in the Active Directory so your users can find it. So there we have a fairly simple printer installed. Now, a couple of devices we can do is we can share the same printer twice. This allows us to restrict it to certain users for certain settings, or in this case for demonstration purposes play with the priority. So I've already got this printer installed. I am going to go and install it a second time using exactly the same settings. So we'll add a printer again. Again, it won't be listed. We'll choose the manual settings, but this time we will find that the port we require is already there. We added it the last time. So we'll say next. Same make and model. It's the same printer. And of course there already is a driver installed, so we'll just use that one. We'll call this one second printer on floor 2, and again we won't share it. next, and finish. And it doesn't seem to show in the control panel there. But if we right click on the printer, we now see we've got two sets of properties. Printer on floor 2, second printer on floor 2. And what we can do is we could go into the printer on floor 2 we had set up previously, and it's shared, printer on floor 2. But what we can do is we can share it to only certain people. So we'll go to security, and we could remove the everyone group. So at the moment, no one apart from administrators, various operators can share it. And at the moment, we have only organizational units. So if we head across to Active Directory users and computers, there is the OU of Sodor, we've got with Diesels, and we've got with Steam. So what we're going to do is we're going to make some groups in here, and one of the problems we've got is we can't call the group the same name as the OU. But we start a new group here, and what we'll call this one, we'll call it Diesel Trains. It's always global, and it's used for security. And there we've got a group. We can right click and properties and bring up a list of members. No one at the moment. So we can add, and you've got two choices. You could type the username in. Of course, with multiple users, it's very easy to forget them. So if I go to advanced and find now a blank search, it gives me a list of all the machines there. So I'll choose user Daisy, user Diesel, and I'll add them to the group there. So we've got Daisy and Diesel, and that's them in a group. You can do the same for Steam, make a group, Steam Trains, bring up the properties, add some members, we'll have Edward and Thomas. We'll add them in, and that's them in groups. So we can close that, and in here we can add the Steam Trains. I know the name, I've just used it, so I don't have to search. Steam Trains can print, and that will be their private printer. For the second printer, I'll do the same sort of thing. I'll remove everyone, and what we'll do this time is add the Diesel Trains onto that one. Allow them to print on it. But as we don't like Diesel Trains very much, we will go to Advanced, and we'll put the priority up. 1 is the highest priority, I'll put 99 in. Give them very low priority on the printer. It's going to come out the same device, but anyone in the Steam Trains group will be able to print quickly, jump the queue. Anybody in the Diesel Trains, they'll be put to the end when the printer's not busy. So apply that one, and OK. You don't have to do that, you could change some of the other settings. Maybe the Diesels can only print in black and white. The Steam Trains can print in colour on the same device. So that's option 1. The second option you can have is have one printer, piece of software, print into several devices. So if you've got a very busy printer, you could add a second device and split the load up the users wouldn't notice, it would just come out of one of the two devices they have. So we'll add another printer. The same way as before, we'll create a new port. This time it will be 10.1.1.201, and again it will wait and select the correct port. Again, we'll tell it it's an HP JetDirect card, and for ease we'll just say it's the same printer again. So it's an HP LaserJet 4250. Assuming of course I can find it. There we go. Current driver. And we'll go with this one, the name of Pool Printer 1. I'm not going to share it. And it's installed. It's a Pool printer. I can bring up its properties, and under the port option we have an option to enable printer pooling. So we can choose it, and we could plug a printer into a third IP address. So we'll add the port, TCP port, work our way through the wizard. 10.1.1.202 this time. Let it search once more. It'll be another HP JetDirect, and finish. And you'll notice it doesn't ask for the make and model of the printer. Because it's a printer pool, it has to be very, very similar, the same driver in fact, as the previous one we just installed. So I can close that. You'll notice it's got both ports ticked, 01 and 02, and we've now got one printer, the bit of software, pointing to two physical devices, and we'll get load balancing. Of course we haven't got it shared, so we'll share the printer, we'll call it Pool Printer, and we'll list it in the directory once more. And there we have a Pool printer up and running.